Hello and welcome to another episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, an ongoing video series where I explore the world of anime and manga and manhwa, and we did one about visual novels. You know, just stuff I want to talk about from Japan and Korea, basically. We're talking about this particular episode is all about, let me get going here, great 2023 shows you missed. Not shows I missed, shows you missed. Because there's been a lot. There's always a lot of anime. Every year it feels like more and more shows get adapted. There's so few that don't. If you're watching on Crunchyroll or High Dive or Netflix or Amazon Prime still gets in there, or somebody's fan subbing the couple shows, or just the studio made a short that they are translating to 23 or 33 languages on YouTube, because I think 33 is now the most you can do. Whatever it is, people are putting it out there. People are checking out a bunch of anime. And so some stuff you just don't get a chance to see. And I'm going to talk about four of them. And you can let me know in the chat. You can let me know in the comments if you saw any of these shows. What's something that you think is underrated, people slept on, that people missed, that you'd like to see folks check out. You can put that in the comments as well. And I actually reached out to people on social media, both on Twitter and Blue Sky, asking for their recommendations. A few of them were shows I plan to talk about, and one is something I'll talk about later that ties into the next episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Let's just get into it right now. Let's talk about campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. You knew there'd be an isekai on this list. If you've watched any of these or any of my episodes of Pat Baer's Anime Club, you have probably guessed what's going to be on here. Something romantic comedy-ish, or very romantic comedy. Isekai, action adventure series, girls doing things. That's probably what we're going to see. And there might be crossover, because this is going to be action adventure here in Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. Yes, it's an isekai. And I actually think this one reviewed pretty well and people were into it, but there are some folks out there that didn't watch it simply because it's an isekai and you're not interested in overpowered main characters who die and get reincarnated, or through some sort of weird magic end up in another world and they're bland, and then this one's not bland. It is a cooking adventure. So those that like those chill anime about food where the food looks incredible and everyone's excited about it, you get that in this series. You also get a very cool semi-tsundere Fenrir and an adorable slime named Sue, who is just the best. So we get some companions. In the show, there's some goddesses you can see in the top corner there. Over here, got some goddesses hanging out up there. They're just doing their thing. And there's some action. There's some monsters that need to get defeated and people need to get saved and stuff like that. But it's mostly about, let's get some good food and then let's cook that food and eat that food. There's like the ability to buy stuff from Japan, which, weirdly enough, food from a different world has different properties and is healing properties, but even the food he makes from ingredients just locally sourced are fantastic. Good vibes to this one. Very enjoyable watch. One of the best isekai of the year. And like I said, it does have action, but it's not focused on action. It's focused mostly on being a fun show with, again, top tier slime. Slime of 2023. No questions asked. I mentioned there'll probably be a romantic comedy on this list, and there is, and maybe you missed it. The ice guy and his cool female colleague probably didn't, reach your little corner of the internet. There's a lot of, and I've talked about them, some big, well-to-do, like Yamada at level 999 probably hit you, because that one is like very popular and that manga exploded, so you probably know about that one. Maybe you know about my first childhood friend. I think that's the name of it. I can't remember, but it's the middle school girls, or girl and guy. That's like touching, but also sad in some very huge ways. There's just a lot of romantic comedies. There was more of Over the Moon for You, which people make a big deal about for a good reason, because it's great. So maybe you missed this like workplace, slow build, lovely little romantic comedy series. And I think that's a shame, and I think you should check it out. Like Campfire Cooking, this was on Crunchyroll, so easily available in most countries of the world to check out. You've got great characters just kind of figuring out their place in the world and figuring out their relationship to each other. And then you have the fun twist of there are magic abilities, inherited magic abilities through bloodline. Our main dude, he's the cool ice guy. He actually has ice powers. There's people that have fox spirits, and the thing is, the show isn't about hiding that. It's not like I'm a witch and I also have a crush on my coworker. No, no, no. Everybody knows this stuff is out there. Like they're aware of it. It's just a thing that makes this world a little more unique compared to other romantic comedies, where it still is grounded in a reality. It's just reality is a little different, and that adds a lot of flavor, and it's fun. And the whole ice thing being tied in with emotions allows us to physically see instead of just hearing or inside the head or having conversations. You can just see the reactions this character is having, our main character. And I think that's fun. And I'm sure the manga is lovely, but the anime really sings in that department. So A+, really think that if you missed out on the ice guy and his cool female colleague, you should check it out. Now, if you want a slightly different romantic comedy, maybe you're like, Pat, there were so many rom-coms, I missed out on this one. And it was on High Dive, and I don't really watch stuff on High Dive, so I'll go back to it maybe. Was there one that was focused on high school? And while it was chill in some parts and sweet, maybe it was more dramatic. Yeah, there is one of those. You did miss one of those. You missed Insomniacs After School, which is, this art is not super indicative. It's fairly indicative of it. I don't think a lot of money went into some parts of this anime. I think some of the animation frame by frame isn't particularly wonderful, but I think the backdrops are beautiful. And the story is great. Like I said, this is not super chill. There is some drama. Our two main characters have insomnia, and there are both very good, valid reasons for that insomnia. They come together in the astronomy club where they both have come to just try to be outside of, relax and maybe get some sleep in. And they come together. There's a lot about astronomy. Hey, you're like, okay, great. High school story, romance, trying to figure out their place in the world, trying to figure out their relationship with each other, trying to figure out their future. Great. What else we got? What about an arcade run by somebody that is basically their, pseudo advisor? There's a cat. Are these things that would interest you? I think that there's a lot to like about this show. I actually missed this as it aired. I just didn't get around to it. I think there was the day that it came out. I was watching a bunch of other stuff like the couple days that it came out, and it fell by the wayside, and I managed to pick the show up, and I'm glad I did because it's lovely, and I think it very much got slept on. Obviously, I'm talking my own social circles when it comes to anime, but I pride myself on having a very diverse friend group when it comes to anime. I have friends that watch the shows that I would never, I have sports anime fans who are friends of mine that will let me know about these things. I've got the Summer of Blue Lock down. That is not anything I was going to watch. But yeah, all the different kinds of shows I get clued in on. So this one was being recommended to me by a few people who I listen to when it comes to romantic comedy shows, and I was like, or romance shows, and I was like, okay, I got to check that out. And this last one, I'm kind of tired of telling you to watch it. I don't think a lot of people did. Otaku Elf. This year has been great, as I said, for romantic comedies, good action, plenty of, so much isekai, ridiculous amounts of isekai. I think this season only has 8. One thing we were missing in large quantities, or decent quantities at least, is girls doing things. The subgenre of focusing on a slow life, chill exploration of a topic, an idea, a job, a hobby, and the ladies doing it. Because even this season, there's one about a bunch of girls that live together, but it's not really about them. It's about the harem building up by the guy that is their caretaker who wants to not be horny, but they're all kind of horny for him. That's not something I want. I've watched Love Hina. I'm good. I don't need to see that. But Otaku Elf, It's a reverse isekai or an isekai, depending on who you listen to. If you listen to me, it's just an isekai. Our main character got summoned from a fantasy world to ancient Japan and has lived there since as an oracle. There are multiple elves that do this. And we're looking at the eyes of her new caretaker, the daughter of her previous caretaker, because that is a generational job, looking out for her. And they go with Otaku Elf because she does have some nerdy hobbies, and I think Neat Elf would probably be better because she does her jobs, but she definitely just wants to like stay in a room and just kind of hang out because there's a little sadness there, but it's also just like awkwardness. You get a lot of history of like, oh, this game, I remember playing this. I remember when they introduced this game, or I remember when they banned alcohol because of this thing. The minor characters I think are very fun. It is cute. There's something very silly about an elf playing a clearly knockoff Switch, Nintendo Switch. I think that is very funny, just visually, and being into like model kits and Red Bull is just humorous. It's like a fun little series. It's also on High Dive, like Insomniacs After School. So if you were thinking like I want to, you know what, I haven't. Everyone's fucking talking about Oshinoko. It's one of, if not the best shows this year. So I guess I got to watch Oshinoko, and I'll get a subscription to High Dive to do that. While you've got that subscription to High Dive for Oshinoko, the show everyone's talking about, like I said, probably the show of the year, except for, Witch from Mercury Part 2 or Season 2, which is clearly the best show of the year. Don't fight me. But obviously Oshinoko, huge hit. Reason to get High Dive to watch it. While you're watching High Dive, also check out Otaku Elf, check out Insomniacs After School, check out the cat show whose name is escaping me at the moment. Too Cute Crisis. That's it. That one's great too. Check those shows out. I don't know, they're fun. But definitely watch Otaku Elf. Helk is on High Dive right now. That's good. There's a bunch of reasons to check out High Dive. I've already made videos about High Dive. I don't need to anymore. Now, this last thing that I'm going to talk about here, I said earlier in the video that I reached out on social media on Twitter and Blue Sky and was like, hey, what are some shows you feel like people slept on this year? What are some shows you wish more people had watched? And I got a few responses. One person was talking about Mashal, which like I feel like was a big deal, but maybe it wasn't. But I was like, eh. But one show that came up was The Fire Hunter, which I have not seen. I have been told that there is a second season coming, which is great, and that the second season will finish the novels. So it'll be a complete story, and that's fantastic and lovely for people. In 2 weeks from this recording, I'm going to put up my next episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club, and it will be about The Fire Hunter, because I'm going to watch it. Am I going to watch every episode of The Fire Hunter? I don't know. Am I going to watch 3? Yes. I will watch 3 episodes of The Fire Hunter, and I will give my thoughts on that show, because this is something that 2 different people were like, The Fire Hunter is the best show no one I know is talking about. And I was like, okay, sold, great. I'm going to take a look at a show that I missed this year. And if there are other shows that you think, Pat, I watch your streams, I watch your videos, I don't think you watched this one and it was my favorite, or it was good, or weird, or like, hey, I know that you didn't like The Eminence in Shadow, but actually it gets kind of crazy in interesting ways. Like the pilot doesn't do it any favors because the pilot is just, what if a guy who wanted to be Kick-Ass, the character, ended up going to a fantasy world and you weren't interested, but actually it gets kind of amazing. Like you could try to argue, I'm not going to watch Eminence in Shadow. Maybe I sold you on it, but I know that I won't like it. I know enough about that show. But let me know in the comments if there's something else that I should be checking out from the first half of 2023 or even this season right now. I would love to hear it and come back in 2 weeks' time for the Fire Hunter review. This has been 2023 shows you missed. And again, if you watch The Ice Guy and His Cool Female Colleague, like, I wasn't talking to you specifically. But you should watch it if you haven't already. And that's been this episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club. I want to thank everybody for watching. Leave a comment, please. I've mentioned that several times. Leave a like, share with a friend, let people know. I don't know. Enjoy anime and manga and light novels and visual novels and video games and whatever else. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Goodbye.